do the work and know that it takes work.
Hi Malcolm. Welcome to the Diary of a Small Business. How you been?
I've been fine preparing for Christmas kind of, but I'm getting stuffed donuts. I saw on Facebook.
Nice. Quick agenda, right? We will talk about your journey, how you have started, how is it going now, how the future looks for you. That is generally the idea of this
Uh,
podcast. Sound good?
yeah, so good.
Great. Uh, Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Malcolm Brown, video company, Malcolm Brown Videos, and I really focus on social media videos and WhatsApp videos as well. Seen the
Nice.
Frederick.
So how long did you start this and how did you actually get into it?
Yeah, so I have been doing this for 5 or 6 years, but an actual business for 2 years. And I just decided to double down into it because for a while I was freelancing and I just thought, like, I think this is really what I want to do. So yeah, just kind of took that leap.
Nice. So like what were you doing before you launched this and like how did you take that leap? Because the leap is generally the tough thing for, as to open a business and get going, right?
Yeah, so before, I mean, I graduated into COVID, so I was able to have like my graduation and everything. But like, so that was nice. But then when I actually started, it was like unemployment because I literally my first job out of college was it was like for a lawyer in Baltimore. I worked one day. It's like I guess it had to be March, but yeah, they told me don't come back because we got this like virus coming through, and I was like, man, like, but it worked out. But the aftermath of that was just kind of waiting for a while, and then I just kind of did freelancing like online because I see myself as an editor primarily, but I also do videography. And yeah, I just really find passion there.
Nice, that's good. So who are your ideal customers?
Yeah, I would say my ideal customers would be especially people who are trying to make a consistent presence on social media. And what I like to focus on is longer videos, like YouTube, for example, whereas like content creators that don't want to just do TikToks and Instagram reel type shorts. And I think those also have a purpose and a time. But what I'm looking to grow is especially with, yeah, long form videos.
So you focus on somebody who's looking to get a long form video done for their business.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. So what are the challenges and wins you kind of faced over your journey so far?
I think so far, one challenge has been figuring out like exactly what I want to focus on because I've known for a while that video has been my thing in since late college, but I realized like the more I dive deep into one subject, like or one focus, the more impact I can have on that type of on that field. And so I think down the road, I want to like especially make educational videos or like informative videos, and just like there are different ideas I have for the future, but or like stuff like history too. But for right now, yeah, I'm mainly focusing on social media for businesses essentially.
So what are the things you are doing to reach your ideal customer base?
So I started running ads maybe like 2 months ago on like Instagram and Facebook. And that's one thing I've tried like so many different things, and I realized I just need to stick with one and just figure out what I really like. And so ads were nice, and I think that helped get my like face out there because I've run into people and then be like, "Oh, I saw your ad," and so it did like help. But then I think there's also value in like more of a personal approach because another thing I've done is like actually send like personal messages to actual businesses that where I just record a video of myself and kind of say like I looked at your social media at your website and this is what you could do. And it just kind of stands out from what other people are doing in terms of just emailing you and saying, yeah.
Nice. You're giving value to the potential customer, even he becoming a customer, right? So that really helps.
Yeah.
So talk about your ads, right? Like how much was it costing? Like how many ads were you running?
I spent about probably about $20 a day based on um when I was had them on versus off. And because I've tried running ads before, like multiple times, and this was probably the most successful one I've had because, especially because it was localized versus before it was just kind of, I didn't really know what I was doing and I didn't really have like a local service to actually sell. And so, yeah, the $20 a day worked for maybe like a month. And
So out of them, how many leads did you get, and like how did it convert?
um, but it started, I think on the app it says like 100 conversations. And so, because it was mainly like a messenger app or messenger ad,
Mhm.
and using that, I felt like it was a good middle between um, like this mass media thing, but also have like a personal conversation. And so that was, I think that was a good thing. And I think the thing that it was most valuable for was just like the number of like potential sales in the sense of like as a younger business, I'm less familiar with like the sales process, I guess. So it's
The
like
sales funnel type thing, right? Yeah.
yeah, sales funny exactly. So because usually if I'm getting a client, it's like word of mouth and like they've seen a video I've done, and so it's like a different process than someone who's coming to me off the internet. And so now it's like it's just different levels to every
Correct.
type of marketing, and yeah, I'm learning that.
Correct. So talk to me about like in detail, how does if somebody wants to work with you, right? How does
Mhm.
the process look like from kind of an end to end?
Okay. So I think one of the challenges, like to kind of go back to one of your questions, that I've been having is figuring out what type of services people need in terms of video, in terms of like this. I started off with the editing like route, but recently I've gotten more into like the pre-production scripting and everything. And I realized that like or even before scripting, like the whole content ideation process, that's something I like really have like grown a passion for. Challenge has been like figuring out, okay, if I just provide like the videography or if I just provide the editing, this might not be having like the actual impact that it could have if like I was able to like have a role earlier in the process because there's all these different things that go into video that I have from like 5 years of experience, but to the average person, like they receive video, but it's like a different. Um, it just I like to be useful in terms of people using me as a resource. Yeah.
Correct. You mean like having a hook starting with a nice hook and then a good content and then like a call to action. Like there are some frameworks to use, right? And if your clients do not know that, then they'll be like blabbering something and it may not be connecting to their audience, but they might think that whatever you are providing is not impactful, but the real reason is they are not putting a framework around it on how to deliver and what to deliver.
Yeah, exactly. And also part of it is like I give is stuff around production as well, like the shooting, because it's not always necessary for me to actually come in and use my camera. Like a lot of time, people want to just use their own phone because people can shoot 4K off of it. And but if you use that phone but you don't understand like lighting technique, something like simple advice could really help you out, and then you have like a much better product with kind of the same equipment essentially. And so yeah, that's another kind of lane that I go down.
Right, yeah. Even though if you're doing everything right, but the lighting is off, it's like it's not connecting well, right?
Mhm.
So what kind of softwares do you use to edit?
So I'm a Adobe Premiere Pro user mainly. And I like collaborate with other people using Adobe sometimes. I also use DaVinci. It's like more up and coming, I guess, for like certain freelancers. But yeah, I really feel passionate about like social media kind of commercial editing
Mhm.
versus like because if you're into like Hollywood or that's like using Avid instead of Premiere Pro or like yeah, it's just like a different type of experience like Premiere Pro gives, but also like it allows me to be in the lane of like everyday video maker. Like I can work with medium-sized businesses or like small businesses instead of like Hollywood.
Yeah. Not like people who are growing into the business journey. That's where you can contribute more. Is that what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And I checked out your Facebook page, and you talked about if you're using Zoom for podcasting, you're doing it wrong. And I'm doing the same thing right now.
Oh
Tell me
yeah.
more about it.
Maybe maybe there's like a some update where do you know how high recording Zoom can do now? Like the like 1080p or like 4K. Do you know?
I did not know that. I use it plain.
Yeah, I was just curious. Yeah. But I thought about that beforehand. I was like, I use this thing Riverside. Usually helps with the video quality, but sometimes, I mean, light is so important. So if you don't have a window or you just have a bad light situation, it doesn't really matter. It's just gonna look bad. So
So in that you talked about StreamYard or
mm,
something like that, right? So what are the softwares you recommend people to use for podcasts?
yeah, the main one I use is Riverside, but there's also I think StreamYard maybe changed its name, was bought out by Script for sure. Yeah, just Script.
Oh,
So
Descript, okay.
Riverside is the one that I use, and it just basically allows you to like record higher video quality, but also it records on the computer itself. So that way, it just kind of saves you. It's like a just in case, um, yeah, thing.
The internet is bad, you're covered.
Yeah, or if there's in yeah, exactly.
What can I expect from Malcolm Brown next time?
Okay. So I think part of like me recommending YouTube for other businesses is like taking that advice myself. So I have my own YouTube channel that I'm dedicating my more time to, and it was about religion, and I want to make like a similar video or series around religion that I want to show to the public, probably in like June. But it's something I've done every year for friends and family. But the idea behind it was to kind of get bigger and bigger every year. And so now I want to make it like a public event that's sponsored by Malcolm Brown Videos because part of what I want to do is become more known in Frederick as video, but like video in a certain sense, and I just want to figure out what that sense is. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did you already have a channel which you're uploading videos or
Yeah, it's currently called YouTube Income Innovators, but the one I just made for Frederick because I also want to focus on Frederick history, Frederick present, and like also Frederick future. I just have a bad habit of creating too many YouTube channels. So there's also another one about topics in American religion. It's those three that I mainly want to focus on because those are all part of what I want to make videos about and what I'm passionate about. Yeah.
what advice would you give someone who's starting fresh and be into the video production space?
Um, I think one piece of advice I would say is like do the work and know that it takes work because within any profession that you choose, including video, like it's easy to see the gap, the large gap between you and someone else. But like part of the process is like just doing the work every day. And then when you look back, especially when like with in the world of video where you see your old videos, it's like you see how far you'll come and yeah, it just kind of just have to put your head down and do the work.
Do the work, that's it, right? So how does your day look like in terms of your profession?
Um, I would say uh, at the beginning of like my um time as a videographer, it's was most of the process was editing, but now these days I spend some of my time editing, but more so with like writing. If it's a shoot day, then I prepare for that shoot day. Yes, it is just like different, mainly those three aspects: pre-production, production, and like post-production. And so the what each day takes like changes depending on the day. And I think that's what is part of what makes the job enjoyable for me because it just I'm trying to figure out what parts of the process though I enjoy the most. And sometimes it's like the script writing for someone else's videos is like really fun to me, but my for my own videos it's really like boring. Or it's like the editing for my own videos is like great. It's like I really enjoy that, but the editing for someone else is like, oh, in that specific project, like I don't want to do it that day. And so it changes every day.
Script writing, right?
Hmm.
How do you go about it? Like, do you have any frameworks you follow? Because script writing is not easy for sure.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to as like longer videos, which I try to specialize in, the amount of time it would take to fully script write would just take way too long. And so I've leaned more into like kind of somewhere in between where it's bullet pointed and kind of you're talking about a subject that you already know. Oh, and so that kind of works well with business owners because it's like they might talk about maybe like injury recovery or life coaching. They already know the topic, but they don't need to say every word. And it depends on the situation, but it's better the process, but it also allowed me to focus more on intros. And so what I do write word for word is intros. I don't really follow like really some type of framework other than taking the first 30 seconds really seriously, and then especially like the first 5 seconds is like a preview of the first 30 seconds. It's all about just getting people over that hump. And then once you get them over that hump, it's smooth sailing. But if you think about it that way, it makes you put more effort into the intro because
Like, yeah, yeah, the hook. Nice. What kind of cameras do you use?
I'm a Panasonic person, so I use like the Lumix, the G this one is a S5 Mark II. When I first started out, wasn't sure about how much video cameras actually matter or like the level. And I think now I understand it's complicated, but also I see that the camera I have now can do things that the one I started on just couldn't do. Low light, it's a different situation. But on this at the same time, I realize that there are certain skills that I've learned that can make me use that old G85 better. But it's like gaining the tools, but also the skills at the same time. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Sure. And also a lot of it is I realized later like light really does matter. So and that's one thing I'm trying to get even better at in terms of my videography because when it was the 72 film fest, like I was able to actually see someone on the set whose job was specifically just light. Like because I usually just do like maybe like solo stuff or like not that much not like large productions like that where someone is specifically just light. I was like, man, wow, like just really made me
It,
think about it. Yeah.
it's like a thing, right? Like, dedicated person just to make sure the lighting is good.
Yeah. It's like painting with light, is what I heard in one video. Like, and that I was like, oh, painting with light.
Where can people find you?
So my website is malcolmbrownvideos.com. I'm also on, I guess, Instagram as Malcolm Brown Videos. And then my YouTube is, yeah, YouTube Income Innovator. Most importantly, you can find me in Frederick. So that's where I'm stationed. Or like that's why I like want to make my mark. And I think next year is really about like trying to make that come into fruition.
Makes sense. How can I help you?
Um, I think anyone can help me, but by just helping locate like good stories. Like because one video I made was make videos for community, not just for profit. and I want to, make videos for museums one day. And so part of what I do in that just tell project stories. And so if someone has something compelling, then about history or the present or the future, yeah, that's one way.
Thanks, Malcolm. It was great talking to you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I really enjoy this.